All right, some breaking news now on these tariffs. Justin Trudeau of Canada saying that he had a conversation with President Trump and they will postpone these tariffs 30 days, promising more cooperation with the border. The same thing happened with Mexico again earlier today, with the Mexican president promising to spend 10,000 troops to the border in order to postpone that tariff 30 days. So what does this mean, and how does this uncertainty and possible tariffs affect your wallet? Joining us now is USC's Economic Associate Professor Bill Hauk. And Bill, you and I have been talking about this quite a bit. Let's first tell people how we got here. That Trump believed that this might stop the flow of drugs into the United States. How do we connect that with tariffs?
Yeah, so the argument is that China, Mexico, and Canada have not been doing enough to staunch the flow of fentanyl into the United States, which is obviously causing a lot of problems in terms of drug overdoses. So the argument is that if we impose tariffs on these countries, use them as negotiating leverage in order to get them to take security on the border and drug trafficking and so forth seriously, that will hopefully stop the flow of fentanyl into the United States.
So a 25% on a tariff on Mexico and on Canada, if that goes into effect. What type of, now we know it's put off for 30 days, but what type of an issue could that cause for products here in the U.S.? Not only products we import, but of course they could return and put a tariff on imported goods from the United States. What's going to happen?
So I think there's three main impacts. One is that if it's consumer goods that we buy directly from Canada, Mexico, or China, a lot of electronics goods, some fresh produce, and so forth, those prices you would see go up, relatively quickly. You would see increases in prices on consumer goods. Now, the second big impact is that we also import a lot of what we would call intermediate goods. Goods that are used in the production of manufactured goods like automobiles.
Right, I was reading a lot about car parts. Car parts,
exactly.
Lots of them coming in from Canada.
Exactly, and those become more expensive. And, that can put a bit of a squeeze on, say, like auto plants here in South Carolina. So, if, that cuts down the margin on auto production, well, then, you might see those plants shut down. Perhaps, not completely shut down, but, at least slow down and, wages going down or workers being let go.
Right. So we know we have BMW, of course, and we have Volvo, of course, and then soon to have Scout Motors, of course. Auto industry is big business here in South Carolina, and big business for our workers and our consumers here in our state, too.
Exactly. And then the third effect, as you mentioned, Canada, Mexico, China, they might retaliate. We saw this back in 2018 when the first Trump administration imposed tariffs on China. China responded by limiting their imports of U.S. agricultural goods. That hit, say, the soybean industry very hard. So, the retaliation could hurt our export industries as well.
And let me ask you this. Gosh, I think we've all seen the clip by now of our national anthem being booed. Canadians booed the singer of the national anthem. Even though we've gotten the 30-day reprieve, is the damage done? And what does this do to future relationships with our allies, Canada and Mexico?
Yeah, no, that's a really tough one because President Trump himself negotiated our previous trade agreement, the USMCA agreement, with Canada and Mexico back during his first administration. And then, a few years later to kind of turn around and really, just completely break that agreement, that makes it a lot harder for countries to say, trust the United States in international trade negotiations. Are you going to stick to your agreements? So even if, as appears to be happening right now, the Trump administration walks back some of these proposed tariffs, really, that could cause a lot of diplomatic headaches going forward.
Sure. All right. Well, Bill Hauk, you have some lucky students over at USC breaking down all of this latest economic news for us. We really appreciate your time tonight.
Glad to be here.
I understand it more now. I really do. I hope you do too.
It's tricky sometimes.